Welcome to the Manifesting Millions podcast. I am your host, Rashida McFerrin, and today in the Rich Auntie Life series, we are talking about going from hustle to flow. But before we get started, I want you to head over to Rashida.ai and grab your Manifesting Millions free guide to get you started on your journey to becoming a millionaire. And then come back over here and spend some time with us. So, I'm going to give you a little bit of background in reference to where this episode originated from, the idea of it. I've been thinking a lot about my journey in corporate finance over the last technically 19 years. On April 6th, just having some contemplative thoughts about the last 19 years and how I've accomplished a ton of dreams that were on my to-do list, and how doing that in the energy that I traditionally operated in was very hustle oriented. It's because that's the way I was taught. I've always worked in male dominated industries. And so, in a male dominated industry, ain't nobody got time for your feelings. It's either you're going to step up and be the alpha that you are, or you're going to get left behind. And I'm just not one for being left behind. I'm not one for being a follower all of the time unless I absolutely have to and it's necessary in a situation. But in thinking about the concept of releasing hustle culture these past 5, 6 years in my life now, I have really been focusing on staying grounded in my energy, paying attention to what overwhelms and stresses me out, and not letting other people's problems take my focus away from providing for me as being a priority. And that goes for jobs, people, family, friends, whatever category it falls into. And so, that being said, the reason I got here was because I got sick in 2018. My thyroid went out of whack to the point that I was hyperthyroid for some years. I got my thyroid taken out 2 years ago, full thyroidectomy. And it's not like I hadn't already started the concept of starting to put boundaries in place where I was taking care of myself more. But it's just that I was so married to the fact that you have to hustle hard to get somewhere and to get results. I'm noticing a trend, speaking specifically for Black women, as we carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. I'm noticing that so many of us are getting to the point where we burn out and get sick, and now our health is challenged. And then we got to recuperate from that in the process of seeking success, at least the old definition of what success used to be. And because of the timing and the time frame, we came into this timeline. A lot of millennials are kids of boomers and Gen Xers. And that is the mentality that they gave to us. I don't know about you, but I remember my quarter life crisis like it was yesterday, and feeling like I graduated not high school. I graduated actually, yeah, high school and both college, and graduating into a world where I felt like I was behind. Now sit and marinate on that for a second. 21 years old, 22, 2002, 2003, 2004. I graduated into a recession. Our generation, the millennials, know instability so well in regards to economies because we literally graduated into recessions. And by the time we graduated into one, it was less than 2 or 3 years before the market tanked completely and the mortgage crisis was here. And we have gotten so used to functioning. I feel like our generation is like this. If you're an 80s baby or you're a 90s baby, like I literally feel like we were programmed to function at these high levels of output capacity and to sacrifice whatever else in the process because that's what it meant to succeed. And when I tell you that is so unhealthy, I get the concept of what our parents and grandparents were teaching us. But one of the main things that I've done in my parenting journey is that I've gotten to this point of I want my kid to understand that you don't sacrifice yourself, your health, your well being for success. Is success something that everybody wants? Yes, but you don't have to dang near go off the deep end trying to get it. And you see this often in like senior execs. They've given up basically their family for a job. And I decided a long time ago when my son came into the picture that I was going to prioritize my family. And I've always been like that. The challenge for me came when I ended up being a single parent and having to do all of the work of parenting on my own, in addition to having a high demanding, stressful corporate finance career and managing expectations from leadership. And doing that, I felt like I was walking on a tightrope. Yeah, it did. It a lot of times it felt like that. At least until my son got a little older and he started to move into his maturity and come into his own as a young man. And so I want to throw some ideas out there if you hadn't heard this before, that you don't have to sacrifice yourself in order to be successful. You don't. It is not required. I hope I have taught my son balance in regards to it's important to be successful. It's important because I know we want nice things and we want to live the lifestyle that we desire. But you don't have to, again, sacrifice yourself in order to get it. Like there's no peace in that. I have a friend. Um, Actually I have a few friends. One of my friends has been married and divorced at least 3 times. Another one of my friends has bought houses on and off since I feel like right after we got out of school and has lost every one of them. I have to ask, our Jen at this point is like, have you ever stopped and thought about the blueprint that we were given and questioned it? That maybe it's wrong and that maybe times have changed? And maybe the cultural consciousness of society is elevating to things more than just having a big car, a big house, and flying on private jets and eating in fancy dining restaurants. Like all those things are amazing. Trust me. Once you experience it, you never want to go back to what was before. But do you have to sacrifice yourself to it just to say you got it? I did an episode last year about keeping up with the Joneses is keeping you broke because you're worried about what everybody else thinks about what you got. Now, don't get it twisted. I love nice things. I do. But at some point, you have to come to an understanding of what you're willing to do to live the life you desire and what that means for yourself and your family. So, I just want to offer a few tips. You know, I ain't coming up in here without offering tips. So, these are 3 tips that I've implemented in my own life that's helped me get grounded again and find a place of stability within myself and understanding that once you accomplish a goal, you ain't got to go start chasing after the next goal. I realized that when I turned 40. I realized that it was just like the programming I was on. Again, mind you, I was in the military. I've always competed in heavily male dominated industries. The mindset that I was on is like once you accomplish one thing, you check it off the list and you go on to the next thing. Then I remember after I turned 40, sitting up in my house and saying to myself, there has to be something more than me just chasing after goal after goal after goal, dream after dream after dream. There has to be something more than this that's a little more meaningful. So I just want to challenge you that if your old way of thinking is outdated and you've outgrown it, it's okay to let that go. You don't have to hold on to the way things used to be. It's okay for you to evolve. It's okay for you to own your identity and how you want to live in your life in this time space reality and live from the core of your being. It's okay. Let's get into it. First step is embrace the power of intentionality. What are your intentions? What is it that you desire to experience while you're here on this earth? Working hard, I get it, but I'm going to challenge you to work smarter, not harder, right? Again, divorcing that concept of hustle culture and leaving it behind. So, the title of the episode is moving from what? Hustle to flow. Let me tell you something that I've learned over the last 2 years in running a business, running a team. I used to pride myself on being able to DIY something. And then once I realized that DIY was part of the reason that my health started going out of whack in 2018, there is no badge of honor in that. There was no badge of honor in me taking on more responsibility than I could possibly handle, running myself ragged, and then driving my health into the ground just so I could say that I did it by myself. Girl, bye. No, ma'am. There is no badge of honor in that. Now, does it pay to be able to do things on your own because you don't have to depend on other people? Absolutely. But you should be able to depend on other people. Step number two, delegate and automate. Simplify your life. Ask for help. Did you hear me? Ask for help when you need this. And this is a hard lesson that I am learning because I have always been so independent. Like, even as a child, I was very do it yourself, do it on my own, and I'll figure it out. And while being independent is amazing, it also is strength in numbers and having people to depend on when you don't have the capacity to do something. There's a power in the concept of having a team. There is no I in team. There's a reason for that. I learned that my freshman year in cheerleading. Sometimes you need other people to move ahead in life, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you put yourself on this island by yourself where you feel like nobody in the world will help you, well, then there you shall be on that island by yourself. You don't have to be on an island by yourself. You could ask for help. There are people in this world who will help you do the things that you need to do in order to accomplish the task that you are trying to achieve. Number three, cultivate a mindset of abundance. Now, we already know this is pretty much sprinkled through every piece of content that I deliver. Having a positive mental attitude is the first step. I don't care how you chop it. Positive energy is stronger than negative energy. And one of the things that I am having to update in my programming is that because I work in risk, I'm trained to see the problems, right? The challenge with that is that because I'm trained to see the problems in everything, it can naturally default over into your personal life. And you don't want to live your life like that. Well, you have to flip it and see the positive things first. Acknowledge that there are some challenging aspects to it, but having that positive mental attitude and understanding that there is more than enough and not living in this scarcity mindset that something is going away or you've been given something so it'll be taken away or setting yourself up basically for failure. That is definitely what that is. Starting there, truth be told, is 50% half the battle. Mindset is going to take you places that you've never been before if you allow yourself to dream in action and put that into place, matched with energy. Hustle is dead. Flow is where it's at. And as we continue to come into our adulthood, our power, we're really the generation that started to change this. I remember when my first corporate job in banking, getting there and finding out that they didn't recycle, and I felt like I had been violated. Because, like, again, our generation is so in tune with how we feel, even though we were taught not to be in touch with our feelings and to stuff them down. What happened with that is that you got a whole bunch of millennials who are like, yeah, no, I'm not stuffing nothing. Yeah, no, no, I've been on this hamster wheel for I don't know how long, and there is no reason for me to sit up here and function like I'm a robot. Well, we're human beings. And so, coming from a place of having an abundant mindset allows you to focus on things like being grateful for simple stuff, to celebrate the small wins when you accomplish something in your business or your daily life. It allows you to get a different perspective in just how you approach life in general. And I am one of the girlies that's going to be the glass is always half full. It's never half empty. I like to associate myself with people who think the same way. Moving from this concept of hustle to flow, it allows us to live in our authentic, unique power. It still requires work, right? Creating the life that you desire still requires work. I am just simply posing that there is an alternative path to not sacrificing yourself for a job and a career just to say you got it. That's it for today. This is a short and sweet episode. As always, you can find us over on Rashida.ai with all of our course offerings and our freebies. If you like what you've listened to today, please leave us a 5-star review, share it with a friend. And until when, I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.